Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be painting this beautiful lunar moth. Hope you will enjoy it and you will get inspired to paint it with me. For the colors I will be using lemon yellow, purple magenta, Helio Cerulean, Indigo, Phthatlo Green, Gold Ochre, Ultramarine, and Burnt Umber. All the colors are from a Polish brand Renesans, but you can use the same or similar colors from any brand that you have. I will list all the colors with pigment numbers in the description box down below. I already transferred the drawing of the moth on the watercolor paper using a lightbox. You can find a link to a black and white outline in the description box below, or feel free to draw your own. So let's get started. I'm starting by preparing a very diluted mixture of Phthalo Green. I cover the entire wing with it, going first carefully around the outline and then filling it in. I'm leaving white space around the markings that will be different color, and also I'm leaving a white bar running across upper and lower portion of the wing. Next, I'm preparing a very diluted mixture of lemon yellow, and I drop it randomly on the wing, using a wet-on-wet technique. This way, color will spread nicely. I do the same with diluted mixture of Helio Cerulean, also dropping it randomly on the wing. Off camera, I followed the same process on the right wing, and I waited for both wings to dry. I followed the same steps for the lower left wing, first outlining it with diluted phthalo green and then filling in the shape. This time I also go over part of the upper wing to get an effect of wings overlapping, using the transparent nature of watercolor. I drop some lemon yellow and Helio Cerulean into the wet paint. Off camera, I followed the same process on the right lower wing, and I waited for both wings to dry. I'm preparing a separate mixtures of gold ochre, purple magenta and indigo in medium consistency, with moderate amount of water. Next, with a small brush, in my case number 0, I'm filling in with purple magenta the bar that goes across two upper wings. I'm painting slowly and carefully, with not too much paint on the brush, so I have more control over the thickness of the line. I'm trying not to make it too thick. While the paint is still a bit wet, I'm going in with a bit of indigo and I'm adding it to a lower part of the bar. I'm trying to make the line pretty thin so it doesn't cover the purple magenta entirely. With purple magenta, I'm outlining the marking on the wing, leaving a small white space inside. While still wet, I'm dropping in some indigo. I'm spreading it a bit so it blends smoothly with magenta. I'm doing the same on the marking on the right wing. With medium consistency of gold ochre, I'm starting to outline the lower part of the wing. I'm going from left to around the middle of the space between the upper and the lower wing. With purple magenta, I'm going from right to left, painting partially over wet gold ochre and blending it in. I'm proceeding in a similar manner on the lower wing, first painting with gold ochre, starting from left and going down the wing. And then painting with purple magenta from the bottom up, blending the colors in the middle. I painted the right bottom side in the same way. With indigo, I'm outlining the upper part of the oval markings on the lower wings. With gold ochre, I'm outlining the lower part of the marking, trying not to touch wet indigo that is already on the paper. I'm adding small dots of gold ochre on the markings on the upper wings. Since gold ochre is pretty opaque, it will be visible on top of the other colors. I'm also adding small dots of purple magenta on the oval markings, making sure they don't blend with other wet colors around it. Now it's time to paint the antennae. With quite concentrated gold ochre, I first make a line going through the center, and then I'm adding smaller lines coming out from the center line. I try to make the lines thin and not touching each other. With diluted indigo, I'm adding some color and hairy texture to the moth's body with short brush strokes. I'm leaving some white spaces, especially on the upper part of the body. On the left side, I'm adding a bit more concentrated indigo to suggest shadow and rounding of the form. Next, with medium consistency of indigo, I'm painting veins running across the wing. I'm making the line wider at the bottom and top and as thin as I can get in the middle. When painting a line, I'm first going in with light, more watery color, and then I'm adding more concentrated indigo to the top and bottom of a line, and I'm blending it towards the middle. I'm trying to limit the amount of paint I have on the brush to have more control over the line. I'm also making the parts where the line splits thicker and darker. Where the line goes into the body of the moth, I'm making it irregular with short brush strokes, so it looks like the hairy body is on top of it. I'm following the same process for the veins of the lower wing. After I finish the veins on all the wings and let them dry, I'm starting to add some more depth to the body, with short brush strokes with medium consistency of indigo. I'm making left side darker, imagining the light coming from the right side. I'm very sorry that you cannot see clearly all my brush strokes here, but I hope you get the idea of the process. I'm making the markings a bit darker on top with concentrated indigo. To add some more interest to the wings, I'm painting small dots of very diluted Helio Cerulean. I'm making the dots bigger and more concentrated near the upper edge of the wing, and smaller and more sparse as I'm getting closer to the lower edge. After I finish adding texture to all the wings, it's time for the finishing touches and adding some shadows. The painting should be 100% dry before this step. I'm mixing ultramarine with burnt umber to get a very light blue-gray color. I'm adding a thick line below the upper wing to suggest a shadow. I'm trying to make as little strokes as possible not to disturb the paint that is underneath. I'm also adding some shadow to the tips of the lower wings, where they twist and other side of the wing can be seen. I'm dropping in some more concentrated shadow mix at the top while the paint is still wet to make a slight gradient. I'm also adding shadow lines going up the lower wing to suggest folds. Next, I'm adding more shadows to the body of the moth on the left side. And lastly, I'm painting tiny shadows on the antennae on the bottom part of each line. I'm adding some more depth to the shadows on the wings, and that's it. The lunar moth is complete. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. There is something magical about this moth that makes me very happy. If you enjoyed this tutorial and would like to see more, please consider subscribing and turn on the notification so you get notified of new videos that I post. The list of tools as well as the link to the outline will be in my description box. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye!